Hi, everyone. My name is Laura Klein, and I'm with Rodan and Fields. And today I have a very special guest that I want to introduce you to. She has inspired me. I love being around her. Her energy is absolutely amazing. So I'd love to introduce you to Lisa Lopez. So Lisa is a certified life and happiness coach, Eli Master Practitioner, Iron Woman athlete. Lisa helps businesses, organizations, and individuals to reset, recharge, reclaim the happiness they deserve. Lisa utilizes mindful movement and evidence-based happiness research to help her clients live a happier life. Lisa, seriously, I love your mission because I feel like that's sort of my goal as well, is just live the happiest life I can. And what I've realized doing some personal development is that it's kind of up to you to decide to live that happy life. I know life happens to you, but it's a mindset and sort of a decision that you need to make for yourself and be in control of your own happiness versus relying on other people to make you happy. So I love your mission, and I can't wait to hear what some advice that you have to say. So right now with COVID and just all of us social distancing, how do you feel like this is affecting people's happiness?
Yeah, that's such a great question, Lauren. Thank you for having me. Yeah, so, it's affecting them in a couple of really interesting ways. There's a lot of fear, understandably, out there. But what I've noticed from my clients and my own experience and then friends and families is people are doing really, really well. And what I mean about that is, again, like you kind of just said so beautifully, they really are doing a beautiful job of just exuding happiness and acceptance and trying to make the best of things and finding some compassion in their heart for themselves and others. So it's been this really interesting and beautiful time because people are starting, I feel like, to connect much more authentically with themselves and others, much more than I've seen ever before. So again, I always kind of tell people, I know we've had this pandemic that has connected us all in the crisis that we experience, but people live in crisis every single day.
Right.
And it can feel like a pandemic, quite honestly,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Your life stops, or, you lose somebody you love, or your child's in pain, or you lose your job. Yeah. So those crises happen all the time. So people are incredibly resilient. But I just love the fact that we are all going through it together and that we're all able to show this really beautiful empathy and compassion for each other. So I think people in some ways are happier because they are really tapping into that authentic happiness that happens within us and not outside of us.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think it's caused everyone to slow down and really take in their environment and their families and use this time to, whether that's working on themselves or their house or, home improvements, whatever it is that's really making them feel that happiness and that joy. So I'm glad people are taking advantage of this period of time for sure.
Yeah.
What can we do to reconnect with our happiness in these times of crisis, would you say?
Yeah, that I would say, what I have found the biggest, one of the biggest obstacles that people are experiencing is just being displaced a lot in their lives in terms of their routines.
Yeah.
Most of us got up in the morning, we had our coffee, we left the house, we went to work. So it was kind of the structure that we had become used to. And so now everything's kind of upside down and unpredictable and looking completely different. So I just work with my clients to try and now recreate their new normal and to create some type of structure, in terms of, let's just take a look at what happiness is for you right now. Is that now that you spend your mornings in your backyard and connecting to nature in that way because we're not able to go out as often? Or does that start with a phone call to like your mom or someone you love to really start your day? So what's our new normal? And then build structure around that, right? Create the list and then build structure in terms of making sure that you're doing stuff routinely so that you feel more of a sense of control and purpose in your day. Right. And just go one day at a time.
Yeah, that's such good advice because I think especially in the beginning, people didn't know what to do. We didn't know how long we were going to be in this situation. And it was almost like fish out of water. And I think because it's now been 3 months that we've been sheltered in place, there you have to kind of go on with your life, and to have a structure to feel like you are getting things accomplished is a really important skill to have, because otherwise days can just keep going. It's almost like Groundhog Day if you don't feel like you're being productive. So I think that's some really good advice. What is the biggest obstacle in happiness right now, would you say?
I feel like the biggest obstacle is people detaching from seeing things as having to be done in a certain way. We're such creatures of habit. It's like we can't possibly think of being on vacation unless we are going out of state, or that's like, that has to be the vacation.
Right.
So it's really standing back and saying, what else is possible? And it's actually exciting. It's so exciting for us to learn and grow in ways that we never did before, because we were just so comfortable.
Yeah.
And not that comfortable wasn't good. I mean, going to Hawaii and stuff is awesome, but we have so many wonderful things in our world, in our communities, in our networks, that maybe we never thought about or never considered, or, so I think that's one of the things that has been really great for people to do. And I know there's resistance to that, because you just don't know. But you know what? Sometimes not knowing is awesome. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I can totally relate to that. You know how much I love to travel, you love to travel, and we've always had trips on the books. And right now we don't have anything. And we are looking at locally, like, where can we drive to? What haven't we done before? And really exploring, within a couple hour range of where we live. There's so much you can do, and it is exciting, and it can add some happiness and some joy in our lives to plan something and to look forward to something, for sure.
Yeah. And I think, I really encourage my clients to try to create more surprise in their life. And, surprise, think about when you're surprised, right? Oh my gosh, it elicits such a powerful, positive emotion. So you can be super playful with that. Now that we're kind of like, okay, we're thinking about what else is possible. Like maybe you create a like surprise moment with your partner, or with your family, or with your kids, or, just being unpredictable actually is great in a lot of senses that way, So that's
Yeah.
another thing to consider.
Well, that leads me into my next question. My final question is, so what would you say your favorite go-to tips are for a stressful day, and other tips just to keep you happy?
Yeah. Okay. So I know the gratitude, you guys. I will just tell you. I mean, yeah, I will say it ad nauseum, and I think our world had a heavy dose of this with the pandemic. Is gratitude just dissipates all the crappy stuff that happens in your day, or in that moment, or in that challenge with your relationship, or whatever. I mean, just start with that, and it just softens everything. It allows you to go from incredibly linear thinking and being in that fight and flight, stress response, to, wow, you literally can just feel like your shoulders drop, your face soften. It puts things in such powerful perspective. And I think I love that actually about social media, is how people are so grateful for so many things at such a much deeper level than they were before.
Yeah.
But it's just remember that, like, whatever happens, just if you can pause long enough to deeply feel grateful for something in your life, then you're going to allow happiness to return. So that would be my one quick happiness tip.
I think that is a really powerful one. Being grateful. I know that I've incorporated that into my life. And I even have a reminder on my phone every morning what to be grateful for, just to start my day being grateful. So the power in that, because if you're feeling grateful, you can't have those other emotions, and it exudes such happiness when you do think about what you're grateful for, whether that's even just the fact that it's a sunny day, or that you can go to the beach, or whatever it is that makes you happy. Just being grateful for that moment. I totally see that.
Yeah, and I actually love that you brought the idea of having a prompt of some sort, because a lot of people, this is why, because again, we kind of think of things in a certain way. So get a journaling prompt to help kind of spark what else is possible in terms of how to explore yourself in your mind.
Yeah.
There's so many wonderful apps like you reference. Like you don't have to just like, I can't think anything else to be grateful for. You know what I mean? There's other ways to do that, and also to realize that, you know, it doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I have to be grateful every single day. The most important part about gratitude is that you're really connected to that emotion. So whatever that is for you, just just savor that, you
Yeah.
know, just savor that. You don't want to get it so then it's just like this monotonous
Yeah.
thing, but you want it to be really powerful for you.
Yeah. I think savoring is a really big thing to think about too, taking it in. Even eating something sweet puts a smile on my face, and I don't want to overindulge. So even taking a bite and just enjoying and savoring that moment makes me happy.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I mean, and that's really sustainable happiness is really about implementing all these little habits that over time you build this beautiful foundation of happiness. And so it's like you just feel good most of the time.
Yeah.
And that way, when something happens tragic, like pandemic,
Right.
you know, it's not that you don't experience those emotions. I mean, happiness is also acceptance of all those negative emotions, but
Right.
it's really the ability to return to happiness more quickly, because that's your foundation.
Yeah.
You know, if you practice savoring, if you practice gratitude, if you practice movement, you know, those are the things that are kind of your anchors to say, come on back.
Yep.
You know, it's not
Yep.
the end of the world.
Well, I'm so happy to, have you in my life, and you bring so much joy every time you come into a room. You just that smile and your energy. So I really appreciate everything that you're doing and the mission that you have. And I really appreciate you coming on here and sharing some of your tips.
Thank you so much, Lauren. I appreciate you too. And I appreciate you doing your part to make our world happier by you being happy, because that's really how it starts. You know, you taking care of yourself, you filling yourself up, making happiness your priority. And please, everybody, listen to me when I'm saying this to you. Start with you,
Yeah.
because when you're happy, all that happiness flows from you. And that is how we incrementally elevate the happiness in our world. So you first. Make sure you take
Yeah.
care of you first.
Yeah, well, I'm going to end on that note. And for everyone who's listening, thank you so much for being here with us today. And if you liked what you heard and you want to share it with people, please like and comment and share. We would love to spread the joy of happiness to everyone. So thanks again, Lisa, for being here, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.